All right, so we're diving into this CBS article you sent over.
Mm.
And wow, talk about a tough read.
Yeah, no kidding. Just, I mean, the imagery alone,
Oh.
a truck, Bourbon Street, crowds, it just hits you.
It does. It paints such a visceral picture of that chaos, the fear.
Right. And the aftermath, too. Trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. But what really grabbed me, what makes this article different, is the focus on the attacker's brother.
Oh, absolutely. That's not a perspective you see very often. I mean, talk about humanizing a tragedy.
Yeah, it's like suddenly it's not just about the event itself, it's about the ripple effect, the people connected to the perpetrator.
And the way the brother talks, you can hear it in his voice,
Yeah.
right? The shock, the disbelief, like he's wrestling with everything.
It's raw. He says he never thought his brother was capable of something like this. It really makes you wonder, how well do we ever really know anyone, even family?
It's a tough question, no doubt. And the article gives us so little to go on, right? We know the attacker was 25, no history of crime.
Described as, and I'm quoting here, a good kid. That's straight from the brother.
Jeez, talk about a contrast. This good kid image and then this horrific act. It's jarring, it messes with your head.
It does.
Hmm.
Like, psychologically speaking, is there a term for this feeling of, like, your brain can't quite compute what's happening?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's called cognitive dissonance. Basically, it's that mental discomfort when you're hit with info that clashes with your beliefs.
Huh. Cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, the brother's dealing with that big time. The reality is brother's actions versus, like, his whole image of who he thought his brother was.
Exactly. I mean, how do you even begin to process that? It's got to be incredibly difficult.
Absolutely. But let's shift gears a bit, talk about the investigation itself. The article mentions the motive is still unclear.
Yeah, that's a common thread, unfortunately. Figuring out the why behind these things, it's rarely simple.
Really? I mean, you'd think there'd be, like, a clear reason, right?
Yeah.
Some obvious trigger.
You'd hope so. But it's way more complicated. Investigators, they have to piece together evidence, look at potential psychological stuff.
So it's not always as straightforward, this happened, therefore that's why.
Nope. There can be all sorts of factors mixed in. Personal struggles, mental health, maybe outside pressures. It's messy, like untangling a knot with no loose end in sight.
Man, that's got to make their job even tougher. But amidst all this, there's this one part that really stood out to me, the brother's plea, where he expresses sympathy for the victims' families.
Oh yeah, that got to me too. It's just a small quote, right?
Yeah.
But in a story this heavy, it carries a lot of weight.
It does. It reminds us that even with this horrific act, there's still humanity there. Empathy, remorse even.
For sure. And it brings it back to the victims too. This wasn't just some abstract event. Real people got hurt. Real families are shattered.
Right. The article says one person died, others were injured. Those scars, they're going to last.
They do.
Yeah.
Physical and emotional. And we can't forget that. Their stories matter. Their pain matters.
Ugh. This has been a heavy deep dive, I got to admit. But also really insightful. What's sticking with you after reading all this?
It's the bigger picture, It makes me think about societal factors, like, do we as a society miss warning signs? Could we do more to prevent this kind of thing? Those questions, they linger.
They do, and they're tough ones to answer. But maybe by exploring them, by understanding these complexities, we can start to find some solutions, prevent future tragedies. Food for thought, for sure.
Yeah, lots to think about.
Thanks for joining me on this one. I know it wasn't easy.
No problem. Always good to dive deep, even when it's tough.
Until next time.
See you then.